In this video, we'll be taking a look at all today's NCAAB matchups, and I'll break them all down with free winning picks so you can bet smarter and win bigger. But first, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell so you get our picks the second they drop. Because when the lines move, the early birds cash in. And if you want the full winning sport picks experience, head over to wspicks.com and check out our VIP packages, or grab a free consultation with one of our professional sports consultants for the sharpest edge you'll find anywhere. That's where the real plays live. We are your bookmaker's worst nightmare. These are the games we're hammering, the ones the books can't afford you to bet. This is winning sport picks. The free picks are about to drop, and they're coming in hot. We start with Virginia taking on North Carolina State, and this is a classic ACC game where the spread tells you the market expects a tight possession-by-possession battle. North Carolina State laying 3 means the books trust them to control the game but not run away with it, which keeps Virginia very much alive throughout all 40 minutes. When you're catching 4.5 in this type of matchup, you're buying into discipline, half-court execution, and late-game variance working in your favor. The total at 151.5 sits right in the danger zone where one cold stretch can derail an over very quickly. That's why here we're taking Virginia plus 4.5, and we're going under 151.5. Next up is Kentucky versus Alabama, and this is a matchup built entirely around pace and pressure. Alabama laying 5 tells you the books expect them to dictate tempo, but Kentucky catching 6 gives you room in a game where runs can swing quickly in both directions. When totals sit in the 170 range like this, the margin for error is razor thin, especially once fatigue and defensive adjustments kick in. These games often look fast early and tighten up late. In this one, we're taking Kentucky plus 6, and we're going under 172. Then we head to Oklahoma State against Texas Tech, and this is one of those Big 12 grinders where every possession matters. Texas Tech laying 11.5 suggests control, but that's a big number in a conference game where familiarity keeps margins tight. Oklahoma State catching 11.5 benefits from slower pace and defensive possessions that bleed clock and shrink scoring windows. The total at 168.5 is elevated for a game expected to be physical, which puts pressure on efficiency staying high for 40 full minutes. Here, we're taking Oklahoma State plus 11.5, and we're going under 168.5. Auburn takes on Georgia next, and this is a spot where the spread sits in that uncomfortable middle ground. Georgia laying 4.5 implies they're the better side but not dominant, which opens the door for Auburn to stay competitive deep into the game. When spreads hover around a possession and a half, late free throws and execution decide everything. The total at 173.5 is high enough that defensive lapses become costly, but games like this often tighten late. We're taking Auburn plus 5.5, and we're going under 173.5. Next is BYU versus Kansas State, and this is one of the cleaner market reads on the board. BYU laying 7.5 suggests control, but Kansas State catching 8 tells you the books aren't fully confident in separation. These are the games where underdogs hang around by slowing tempo and forcing half-court possessions. The total at 170 sits high for a matchup expected to be physical and deliberate once the game settles in. That leads us to Kansas State plus 8 and under 170. We move on to Kansas against UCF, and this is a spot where the number reflects respect without excess. Kansas laying 3 shows trust but not dominance, and UCF catching 4.5 gives you value in a game expected to stay tight. Totals in the low 150s usually signal a controlled pace where each empty trip magnifies pressure. In these situations, points matter more than firepower. We're taking UCF plus 4.5, and we're going under 153.5. Vanderbilt faces South Carolina next, and this is a game where the market is clearly daring you to lay the points. Vanderbilt laying 10.5 suggests control, but South Carolina catching 11.5 is attractive in a game where extended runs are unlikely. Totals in the mid-150s often hinge on efficiency rather than pace, and that usually favors unders when defenses tighten late. We're taking South Carolina plus 11.5, and we're going under 157.5. Finally, we wrap it up with North Carolina versus SMU, and this is one of the sharper numbers on the slate. North Carolina laying 1.5 tells you the books expect a near coin flip game where execution late outweighs everything else. SMU catching 2 gives you flexibility in a matchup that should stay close throughout. The total at 153.5 suggests balanced scoring without sustained runs, which keeps unders very much alive if the pace slows even slightly. In this one, we're taking SMU +2, and we're going under 153.5. Now listen to me, those are the free picks, but the one game I am unloading on tonight, the game that's going to crush your bookie's soul, that's the VIP play of the day at WSPicks.com. This is the nuke, the hammer, the max bet, the one play I've circled, the game that will bury your bookmaker 6 feet under. When it hits, and it will, your bookie is going to need a doctor, a lawyer, and maybe even a priest. If you want to ride with me on the biggest bet of the day, get to WSPicks.com right now. Now let's recap everything clean so you can lock it in. Virginia +4.5 and under 151.5. Kentucky +6 and under 172. Oklahoma State +11.5 and under 168.5. Auburn +5.5 and under 173.5. Kansas State +8 and under 170. UCF +4.5 and under 153.5. South Carolina +11.5 and under 157.5. SMU +2 and under 153.5. This is Winning Sport Picks, where we don't just bet, we bury bookmakers. Smash that subscribe button, drop your favorite plays in the comments, and hammer that like button like you're hammering your bookie into the dirt. We're cashing, we're dominating, and tonight we're dancing on the grave of your bookmaker. Let's go!